Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with Laurie Herbers. Laurie is an empowerment and spiritual love coach, an author, and her books are Second Chances: How I Turned Hate into Love and Found My Purpose, and Becoming Abundance: Embracing and Enhancing Your Unique Design. She's the creator of Turn Loving Yourself into a Habit: Keys to Unlocking Your Empowerment and Becoming Abundance. In her youth, Laurie struggled in abuse and trauma, carrying the pain forth into adulthood. Hating life was her home and daily struggle until the day she decided to change her thoughts and beliefs and pursued love with a fervor that superseded everything else. She now guides individuals struggling in life or business to gain clarity, become empowered, love all of their pieces, find their purpose, heal their soul wounds, own their own power, use the power of their mind to manifest all the good things. So Laurie, thank you so much for joining me on My Dead Dragon. And I would love it if you could start out by sharing your story. What is your dead dragon?
Okay, so I grew up in abuse and trauma. And so um I was always on the search for love. Like I didn't feel like I was deserving, I was unworthy. There was something wrong with me if my own father couldn't love me, nobody could love me. And so that just resulted in boy to boy to boy to boy to boy, and thinking that I had to have this knight in shining armor. And I can even remember younger, I would have that dream where I'm running through this
Mm,
meadow with this long gown and the knight comes riding up on his horse and he saves me from, everything. And so I
yeah.
think inside of myself, I had this belief that I had to have someone else to take care of me and to save me and to make
Mm,
me more, or this thought of, if I'm alone, then there's something wrong with me. There was like so
mm,
much emotional abuse that kind of brought that unworthiness out. And
yeah.
so I found myself like, well, first of all, I had a daughter, and then I ended up in this horrible marriage because I thought I had to have a man in my life to make me feel worthy. Can't do stuff without a man. And so that was like the worst 5 years of my life was,
Mm,
trying to be married because I thought that was how I got love from someone. And then
mm,
in 2009, my father passed away very suddenly. Um, and I just kind of lost it because the only thing I ever wanted was for my father to tell me that he loved me. And now he was
mm.
gone. And so this realization of I'm never going to have the one thing that I've always wanted. And so
Wow.
I went home because I was living in Kansas and I went home to Wisconsin for his funeral. And my husband decided that was a great time to leave. So I come back.
Wow.
Yeah. So I come back to a mostly empty house. And I had so much anger. So I was actually going to school for my bachelor's degree. And he passed away in
Mhm,
January, which was like the beginning of a semester. And so my
mhm,
mom is like, "You need to finish. You need to finish." I'm like, "I will finish." And so I just kind of shoved all of that emotion down to get
mm,
through the semester.
mhm,
And so now it was June of 2009. And I was just so, I don't even know what the word, like so overcome with all this emotion because, first of all, he's
yeah,
gone. I'm never going to have a
yeah,
relationship like I thought I was going to. My
mm,
husband had walked out on me, which made me even more of a failure because I couldn't even make a marriage work. There must be something
mm,
wrong with me. And I just remember just so much anger. And there was a storm outside that day, and I just remember going out in the storm. I could have cared less if got struck by lightning. Honestly, at that point, I
yeah,
was so low,
yeah.
and that dragon was so mean. I guess you could say,
Oh,
like I
oh,
felt like I felt like everything was happening to me. Like I had no control over
yeah,
anything, and my life was crap, and it was always going to be like this, and I didn't want this, and I was just so angry at the world. And I'm outside in the storm and I'm basically yelling at this guy. And I'm surprised my neighbors weren't like, "What the heck is she doing?" Because I'm literally yelling at God, like, why do you hate me? I don't understand why you hate me so much.
oh,
Why is my life such
yeah,
crap? Why?
yeah.
And I heard this voice say, "Why do you hate you?" And it's like everything in me just kind of went, "What? Wait,
Wow,
yes." So
wow,
I stumble in from the rain. I'm just dripping wet because it was like pouring out. And I'm just standing there going, "You're right. I hate myself. So now
wow.
what do I do? What do I do? I don't know what to do." And at that moment, I knew I had to do something different, or because I
Mm,
didn't want to live like this. This was not going to be my life. I had a daughter to take care of. And so that was my point where I'm like, you know what? Who says I need anyone? Who says that
mm,
I'm not whole all on my own? And so
mhm,
I really started journaling and just
mm,
dumping it all out. getting all that stuff out, because all those years of abuse, just shoving it all in
Yeah.
and just pulling it out one by one, and just, I guess I slaughtered little dragons all the way. Like there was a big
Mm,
one and then these mini ones of all these words that weren't true. And I just
yeah.
started to, yeah, pull myself out of that and finish school and became everything everyone said I couldn't be, basically. So
Mm,
yeah, it was a lot. And that's actually what my first book is about, is my story, because I really
mm,
wanted to inspire people that just because you went through something, that's not who you are. It's just something that you
mhm,
went through. And so
mhm.
you can heal all of that. And to me, they're like soul wounds. Um,
Yeah.
you literally lose pieces of yourself in those moments of abuse, but you can
Mhm,
reclaim it all. So
mhm.
yeah.
Wow, Lori, what a powerful, powerful story. Thank you so much for sharing that and being so open and vulnerable. And there's just so much there. And I think so many of us struggle with that feeling of inherent unworthiness, that there's something wrong with me. And this is certainly something that I have worked with in my life. And I hear it with lots of people that I work with, that there's this deep down belief that there's something wrong with me, and that's why all of these things are happening. and
Mhm.
and and then kind of all of the behaviors that go with that, the codependency, and not really even knowing how to love yourself, and maybe making decisions and choices that aren't in your highest good, because you don't even, first of all, know what that is, and then you don't even think you deserve it. And so I love that in that moment, in the storm, it's all you're laid bare to life, and this voice that says that you hate you. So tell me about that voice. What had you heard from that voice before? Was this a new
I
thing?
Well, I think that is actually one of my gifts is I'm very, I don't know how to say this. Like God has always been a part of my life. I grew up Catholic,
Mm,
and so he's
mhm,
always been a piece of my life. But even I felt like, yes, he loves all these other people, but I'm not meant to be here. I legit thought,
mm.
because my dad
Yeah,
didn't want me, I was an
yeah.
oops. Like even God didn't even plan for me. I was just this
Oh,
accident just walking around in the world that's not even supposed to be here. Like
yeah,
that is what I
yeah.
actually felt. And so I think you always have that intuition, but I really heard him in that moment. Like,
Mm,
you've got to stop blaming everyone else. This is your life. You have free will. You make your own choices.
yeah.
There's got to come to a point where you'll understand that you have to take ownership for your life. And yes, I can't say that I deserved the abuse that I got, but the fact
Mhm,
that I just kept dragging it along, like it was some
mm.
trophy. I was abused. Look at me, poor me, poor me. When is it enough?
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
yeah, it was very distinctly him, and it's so crazy because he has always spoke through me to other people. This is the first time I
Mm,
felt it just directed at myself, and I was like,
mm.
"Whoa, wait."
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And I love that realization, right? That we all, as, and my beliefs, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and at the level of the human experience, there will be events, circumstances, conditions, experiences that we would not choose to have happen. We
Mhm.
would not choose abuse. We would not choose, all of the things that we navigate. And yet we have a choice about how we show up to those things. And we have a choice about, like you said, kind of dragging that story along, or waking up and saying, wait a minute, I'm not going to let this define me. It's something that happened to me, but it's not who I am.
Mhm. Exactly.
So how did you feed that part of yourself that said, wait a minute, this is not who I am?
It was a very slow process. It was
Yeah.
and it's like I tell my clients, like it's a day to day conscious choice, sometimes moment to moment conscious choice of what am I choosing? Because the
Mhm.
choices that we make is like, a drop of rain into a puddle causes ripple. Every single choice we make
Mm.
causes a ripple. And so most of my life, I was just dropping stuff everywhere. I didn't even consider the kind of ripples that were coming and knocking me back over. And
Yeah.
so it was an everyday purposeful, like every night, like, cause I was a single mom trying to go to school and working full time. So I did everything I had to do during the day. And as soon
Mhm.
as my daughter's asleep, out came the notebook, and it was me and God. And
Mm.
it was going, basically pulling all this out piece by piece and looking at it and going, what is this? Why is this? Did I deserve
Mm.
this? No. Does this have to remain a part of me? No. And I
Mm.
slowly healed through all of the memories and all of the pain, and just worked my way out. It's not something, and a lot of people wish, yeah, I wish there was a magic button. You just push it and oh, I'm better.
Right.
Everything's perfect. But I always say it's long, I had like years. It's going to take time. It's almost like this big ball of
Yeah.
yarn. You slowly unwind it and you just slowly piece by piece get through it, but you can, and it gets easier. The first few
Mhm.
steps kind of, dicey because you don't know what you're doing and it's scary.
Mhm.
But I am like proof that there's a, I'm on the other side now. You can
Mm.
get here. There's nothing magical about me. Well, actually,
Yeah.
there's something magical about everyone,
I was gonna say, yeah.
but yeah, but we each have our own magic. You can do this, but you have to,
Mm.
choose every single day to pay
Yeah.
attention to what your thoughts are saying to you, because when you let them just go, you're just with like,
Mm.
for me, it was like, you're stupid, you're unworthy, you can't do this, you're never going to
Mhm.
amount to anything. Blah, blah. I had to slowly dig through all of that. And so now, and it's so funny, I thought about that just this morning. I had like every once in a while, one will pop back up. It's like when you're
Mhm.
half asleep and awake, it's the
Yeah.
best time to
Yeah.
ask yourself questions because that
Mm.
subconscious door is open. And I just had another one this morning pop up. And I'm like, oh, you're a problem.
Sneaky, sneaky.
I'm like, no, no, no. I'm going to deal with you later. We're going to discuss this later. But it's those moments, the more you do that, and pretty soon you have happy thoughts have now replaced
Mm.
all that negative thinking. And so you can do it because you have your own
Yeah.
magic. We all are. We're all connected. And that same, you know,
Yeah.
knowledge and wisdom is in all of us. I think people
Mhm.
miss out on that. You have it already in you. All the love
Yeah.
that you want. You are who you're looking for. You are, not someone
Yeah.
out there.
Wow. So journaling, I heard you say that was a big piece. How did you get to the point where you realized, wait a minute, I get to choose my thoughts?
Um, I think I'm trying to think. It wasn't until I had another dragon hit me. Like I had a really good friend who then decided we're not friends anymore. And so that kind
Mm.
of made me kind of tumble back down a hole. And that's when I realized I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. She shouldn't have that kind of power over me. She should not, no one should
Mm.
have the kind of power over me. No one should be able to knock me down. And that was kind of the moment where I was like, okay, I obviously need to do something more. So that is actually
Mm.
when I really started going, okay, what do I believe and why do I believe it? Is that even mine?
Mm.
And then I went through some coaching certifications, which really,
Mhm.
really helped force me to go deeper because I really truly believe we cannot give what we don't have. And so if I'm going to help other people, I have to understand it myself. I have to go through
Yeah.
it myself in order to help guide you through it. And so that was like a good solid year of just constant conscious choice of
Mm.
I want love. And it's kind of funny because everyone in the court, most of those people were all about manifesting. And here I am,
Mm.
and like, I just want to feel love. I want that
Yeah.
all encompassing love.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I
Yeah.
spent that year of just learning to fall in love with everything that I am because I
Mm.
feel like sometimes our gifts, some of my spiritual gifts, the whole idea that God was talking to me all the time, I got told I was crazy growing up. And so I really pushed that gift away for a really long time because I thought
Mm.
it was something wrong with me. Here's another thing wrong with me because people think I'm
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so I really we have to embrace those gifts and understand what they're actually for. And now that I know that gift actually helps me help my clients because
Mm.
I can hear their spirit, because we're
Mm.
all connected through spirit. And so
Yeah.
my spirit
Yeah.
is very open to hearing what everybody else's spirit is saying. And so I've
Yeah.
really, really learned to embrace that gift and tell God, I'm so sorry that I dissed it for so long. I didn't understand what you were trying to
Yeah.
do. Um,
Yeah.
so it's all about learning to just love all of your pieces because they're so
Mm.
important. Those spiritual gifts that you might be running from are why
Mm.
you're so discontent because you're disconnected from a piece of yourself. And so
Yeah.
you have to reconnect with all of your pieces. You have to love all of those pieces.
Yeah. And so how did you bring those pieces into your conscious awareness? Because I think that when we have that belief that there's something wrong with me, I'm flawed, I'm damaged, I shouldn't be here, I'm an accident, like whatever that is, we then look for evidence to support that belief. So whatever belief system that we have, we're looking for evidence to support that. And so the parts of us that don't align with that belief of unworthiness, we dismiss, we ignore, we minimize, we push away. So how did you bring those parts into the fullness of the experience of who you are?
I think it was a very, well, it was like lengthy, but yet it felt all at once. Because I
Mm,
believe if you're searching for something, you will find it. It is not going to stay hidden
mhm.
from you if you are
Yeah.
purposefully choosing. And so, because I was purposely choosing to find love, I knew it existed and I wanted it. It was just in
Mm,
this moment because I had spent so much time and literally set an alarm to ask myself, am I in my headspace or my heart space? Am I headspace or heart space? Because I
mm.
wanted to be in heart space because that's where love is. And it just one day, because I kept doing that, and the more you do it, the more you're in that space longer. And so
Yeah.
the ability to maintain that heart space kept getting longer and longer until one day I was just like,
Mm.
it's almost like this light shone. "Whoa." And
Oh.
I was like, oh my gosh, because like everything else just fell away. And all that was
Wow.
left was complete love. I'm getting like goosebumps, was just
Yeah,
complete
I'm
love,
feeling that too.
love and acceptance,
Yeah.
just zero judgment. There was no condemnation. It was just
Mm,
pure honor of everything
mm.
that is, because we are all connected and all in the
Yeah.
fabric that created the universe is the same fabric that created
Yeah.
all of us.
Yeah, it's within
And
me, it's within you, it's within
yes.
everyone listening to this. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I was, and that was kind of what made me go, oh, what do I do with this? I'm just like, this is the most
Mm,
amazing thing I've ever felt. And I got to tell people this
mm,
exists, because I know I'm not the
mm.
only one out there who's like, I'm so unworthy. There's something wrong with
Yeah.
me. And I carried that for so long, and it's so heavy that I literally, it was like for like a month. Every morning I would just wake up, and I was not a morning person, and the sun would come in, which would normally make me go, "Grr." I was just like, oh, the sun is almost like saying, good morning, I love you. Like everything just loves. And
Yeah.
so every morning I would just lay there. I'm like, how do I get the people to know this exists? And then, God's
Yeah.
like, hello, just start talking. And I was like,
Hello.
oh, yeah, I know, pretty much like, what are you, Because I think that was still that belief that I'm not worthy to share this with people, but if I don't,
Mm,
who's going to? And so that's kind of what
mhm.
started my journey and made me, and that's when I was like, God's like, write your book, share your story so people understand that there is a way through all of it. You don't
Wow.
have to keep carrying it. And yeah. And so here I am.
Wow. And so I love what you said about the noticing, right? Noticing, am I in my head? Am I in my heart? And so for people who are listening and they're thinking, okay, what does that even mean to be in your heart? How would you describe that? And then what could people do to start to tune into their heart space?
Okay. So your headspace is, of course, where you're a great place for math, or
Mm-hmm.
engineers to be learning all that stuff. But it's also where you worry and you stress and you're not good enough there. And
Mm,
you're always questioning it. And it's really hard to manifest when you're in headspace, because headspace
mm-hmm.
wants to know the step by step, how.
Yeah.
And manifesting isn't about the how,
Yeah.
it's about
It's
allow.
yeah.
That just came to me.
Yeah.
So, and the thing about heart space is when you're in heart space, you're there because all that guilt and worry just kind of falls away. And in heart space,
Mm,
there's zero judgment of self, there's honor, there's love.
mm,
So automatically, in your headspace, if you have a dishonoring thought, like for me, like you're not
mhm,
worthy, already I know, oop, in
mm,
headspace, because that won't happen in heart space,
mm,
because heart
mm.
space is pure love. In heart space, you are worthy of everything that is.
Yeah.
You are a part of everything that is. And so, um, what I would tell people to do is think about something that just brings a smile to your face. Like you cannot keep a smile from your
Mm,
face. And for instance, for
mhm.
me, I remember when my daughter was about 2, we lived in this little apartment in a little tiny hall, but she had this little ball, and I would kind
Yeah.
of kick it at her, and she would just be like, ah, and then run into her
Oh.
room and see, you're smiling. That right there,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
moment of pure innocence, and you'll know it. And for me, and it
Mhm.
might be like this for you if you're not used to doing this, because I didn't even know that place existed. So like I would
Yeah,
get there and I would smile and then it'd be gone. And I'd be like, oh,
yeah, yeah.
because, and the way I explain this is everything comes from love. And so when, if you want to really absorb the love, go around
Mm,
babies and toddlers, because that's all they are. They
mm.
don't know headspace. They don't have that ability to
Yeah,
get into headspace yet.
yeah, yeah.
So we come forth in heart space. We come forth in love. And
Mhm.
so we are able to get there because that is what we are. We've just got to reacclimate to what it feels like to be in there, because we're so
Yeah,
used to being in our headspace. It takes time to then
yeah.
flip it, which is why I set the alarm for every single
Mm,
hour to go, where am I at? Because I'd always be in headspace and be like,
yeah,
okay, I'm going back into heart space. So that's why I always
yeah,
say you have to consciously choose every moment
yeah.
to be like, where am I right now? What are my thoughts saying
Mm,
right now? What am I doing?
mm. I love that. And I think it's so important for people to know that as you're on your journey and you have this realization, okay, I want to get more into heart space. I want to live from that space, that connection to the divine, that intuitive knowing, that guidance system that I have, that sense of worthiness and love, that it's not like a switch that you flip, right?
Right.
So it's a process where you're kind of like, oh, what's a heart space? And then you feel it. And then, like you said, you're out right away, you're out. And it just takes time for your whole system, your nervous system, your brain, your body to acclimate to that as your new normal. So as you're going through the process, recognizing that, okay, I'm feeling it and it's an amazing feeling. But then when you fall out of that, you can actually be gentle with yourself.
Mhm.
You can have like compassion and love for yourself and know that it's actually part of the process. It's not that you're not doing it wrong, you're doing it right.
Yeah. And I always say it's like, when you've been outside in the cold for a long time and you come into where it's warm and you put your hands
Mhm.
under warm water and it hurts. It's the same thing because your
Yeah.
body acclimated to the cold and now it's got to reacclimate to the warm. So it's the same kind of thing, except we're talking the love energy, that
Yeah.
frequency. So you got to reacclimate it, but you can because you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
if
a
you're walking
great
around, yeah,
description.
if you're
Yeah.
thinking that love isn't for you, I hate to tell you this, but you are love.
Yeah.
Every cell in your body came from love. You are pure
Yeah.
love energy. You just got to
Yeah.
get back into it and be like, oh yeah, that is what
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Remembering, right? Remembering and allowing. I love that.
Mhm.
So if you could look back at your starting point, your wake up call, that moment in the storm, if you could send a message to yourself in that moment, what would it be?
I would say that everything is as it should be because if
Mm,
I didn't have that moment and if I hadn't gone through everything, I wouldn't be able to help everybody that I help now.
yeah.
Everything is as it should be, no matter how
Yeah.
horrible it may feel or the things we've gone through. It's still a part of your journey and it's still a piece of you. And the reason I say that is because for
Mhm.
a long time, I kept just wanting to cut, like, if I could just cut that out, if I could just cut it out and get
Mm,
rid of it, cut it out and get
mhm,
rid of it, oh, well, then I'd be great. And then
mhm,
I'm really good at the visions. And had this vision of myself at the age that I was then, because this was a couple years ago. And every year of my life, like winding down, like I was just in the circle all the way till I was a newborn baby. And so basically, it's me now holding
mm.
myself as a newborn. And of course, you're
Yeah.
like, ooh, baby, sweet baby. But then I look at, and because of the fact that I wanted to cut all of this out, like she had little cuts in her legs and she was bleeding. And I like started to
Oh,
sob because that is what we do to
yeah.
ourselves when we try to disconnect from a piece, even if it's a piece
Yeah.
that feels so horrible, it's still
Yeah.
a piece of who we are. And so that
Yeah.
was like this eye opening, another moment where I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm literally hurting myself by
Yeah.
wanting to get rid of things that are
Yeah.
actually part of me. So,
Yeah. And we can have a dark chapter in our life, but it doesn't need to be our entire book.
mhm.
We can it's part of the story, it's part of the completeness of us. And I love that, sinking into that, knowing that I'm exactly where I need to be,
Mhm.
and it's the right and perfect time. I'm in the right and perfect place.
Exactly. So we're
Yeah.
hearing this and you're like, oh, this kind of makes sense. You're meant to hear this right now,
Exactly. No accidents, no
right? There's
accidents.
no wrong
Yeah.
turns.
Yeah. And so what role did guides and mentors play in your journey?
Oh, a lot. Because of a lot of those limiting beliefs, they helped me because I will get migraines sometimes when
Mm,
it's almost like a message is trying to come through, which usually
mhm,
works great when it's someone else's, but when it was mine, I will get these horrible migraines right where the third eye
mm,
is. And so
mhm.
I was able to reach out to other intuitives and be like, guys, something's stuck. I know it's
Yeah.
stuck, but I can't quite grasp it because it's
Yeah.
mine. And so yeah, I would love, I had like my second certification I had was about the energy piece. And I loved my
Mm,
group because I could just pop on. We would meet on Zoom every other week. And I'm just like,
mhm.
guys, help. And
Yeah.
and it was so funny because the mentor of the program was like, okay, who else has a headache right now? And another girl was like, and so she had connected to my pain and was
Yeah.
able to kind of pull it out of me. So yeah, you need those people that have that kind of
Mhm,
gifting to help you because there's going to
mhm,
be moments where you're stuck and then you get frustrated and then because you're
mhm.
frustrated you're more stuck and so
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
having that knowledge too, that, okay, I need help right now. I want to get
Yeah.
this out. I want to know what this is about. And it was a
Yeah.
big one that day.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can't even imagine, like, I wouldn't be here. Well, I might have, like, I could say maybe I would have stumbled my way to here,
Mhm.
but having those people, kind of help guide me through it made it
Yeah.
much faster than me trying to do
Yeah.
it on my own. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And people to remind you of your inherent worthiness when those negative, beliefs and self-talk is having a heyday, that they can
mhm.
hold that bigger believing for you and remind you like, okay, this is who you are. This
And
is
not
who
only
you
that,
are.
but the meeting a bunch of other people who have the same kind of spiritual gifts after thinking I was crazy for
Mm,
so long, it's like, oh, you
yeah.
guys get me. Like
Yeah.
you have all these people that are like, I hear you. Like I can, my
Yeah.
spirit is hearing you right now. It's calling out. And
Yeah.
so that was huge for me too. That
Yeah.
helped me step more into, the magic that is me by
Mm,
having other people share their magic. And so don't hide your
yeah.
magic.
Yeah. And I think when we have that belief that there's something wrong with us, we're unworthy, that goes along with shame, with isolation, with feeling like you're different, you're like the round peg in the square hole of life. And so to be able to find a community of people who are also on this journey of transformation and healing is so powerful. It's so powerful. Yeah.
And when you said you're the round and I don't know how you say that, the square
Yeah,
peg
the
in the round
round.
hole,
Yeah, yeah,
whatever. I'm just thinking embrace it. If you are, embrace it,
yeah,
because
yeah.
we're so unique. And that's my second book is
Mm,
embracing that unique self, because there is no other you. And that in the
mm,
cosmic, if you look at the whole cosmos as this giant puzzle, there's a very specific piece that you are. And if you're not in your
mhm.
place, it's just this empty spot. And so when we go
Yeah.
around thinking, I'm not worthy, our spot is just empty. And the things we're supposed to be doing are just waiting on us to get where we need to be. And so it's so important to start to understand how worthy you are being
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And that no one else can live your life,
Right.
and that your life matters. Your life matters.
Yes.
Yeah. And so as we know, this journey it's ongoing, right? As we evolve, as we go to deeper integration within ourselves, and there's a next level that emerges. And when you're in the journey, that's actually really exciting. And so what is your next level? What are those kind of learning edges for you? Because I think a lot of people can have an idea where they look at someone and they think, oh, they've got it figured out, right? They're done, tick, they're done. But we know that that's not how it happens. Sorry to burst your bubble, but so what is that learning edge for you?
Um, the thing that popped into my head when you said that, and I don't know necessarily, well, I guess it is a learning, but lately I've just been imagining the cosmic puzzle and my
Mm,
piece. And like even this morning, before I even got up, I just kind of laid there and had my arms outstretched. And I was just
mm,
imagining myself in my puzzle spot
yeah,
and aligning myself with all of creation. I'm getting goosebumps again, and aligning myself with
yeah,
all of creation so that I am purposefully aligned with
yeah.
what I'm here to do. Because I find that when we're not doing what we're meant to do, then we get that discontentment. And so if you're
Hmm.
discontent, you need to start asking yourself, okay, wait, am I in my spot? Am I where I'm
Yeah,
supposed to be? Because when we're always looking at everyone else, we can't be in their place. Because when you think of a pitch, think of that puzzle piece that it looks like it fits and you're trying to shove it in, but it's never going to fit.
right.
That's
Yeah,
what we do to ourselves when we're trying to be someone else. And so
yeah.
I've really just been embracing, like, what does it look like for me to be right where I'm
Mm.
supposed to be in perfect alignment? So
Wow.
that's kind
I
of where I'm
love
at right now.
that. Oh, I love that. I love that. And just the nuances that emerge with that. And I also know that life is always speaking to us, right? Your connection to source, God, infinite intelligence, whatever language you use to
Mhm.
describe the power that breathes us is always there. It's always communicating. It's our willingness to listen. And I also know that when we ignore the whispers, it turns up the volume, and it turns up the volume often in those areas of discontent. And so that can show up like an illness, or like a holy eviction, or the
Yep.
ending of a marriage, or there's so many ways that can show up. And so I love that, learning how to really lean in and connect more to the whispers before they turn into a yell.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And so for people listening, if you could send a message from your heart to their heart, what would you want them to know? What would you want them to know?
Heart instantly said, "You're not broken. You are not
Mm,
lost. You are exactly who you are supposed to be, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be in this moment to now choose different, to
wow.
now say, I am worthy of all there is, and I can do amazing things when I step into who I am." That's what my heart
Mm,
is saying.
mm. I am receiving that. Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And so you have another book coming out. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, that's one of those another things where I was aligning myself with where I'm supposed to be because I have a list of books that I want to write. This was not on it.
Mm,
This did not
yeah.
even exist in
Yeah.
my mind. When my spirit was like, "Well, hello," and so all of a sudden one day, they're like, "You're writing a book called Becoming Abundance," and I'm like, "What?
Mm,
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about." But because I have learned for the last, this was not easy. I don't want anyone to think, "Oh, she just decided one day." No, this started back in 2009,
yeah.
listening and following. And now I just listen when it says because I don't like getting bumped in the head a bunch of times. It can get painful. It's easier. So I just started writing. I'm
Yeah.
like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I just kind of started writing. I didn't have very much left. Another one of my practices is in the morning. I say, okay, what am I meant to do today? And this just happened to be a day where I had a
Mm,
huge list of stuff and it's like, you're gonna have self-care day. You're just gonna rest. I'm like, have you seen my list? What are you talking about? But I said, okay. And so I came out here and I'm doing self-care and I was just kind of hanging out. And I even remember it because I was kind of half laying down on my couch and I just kind of sat
yeah.
up and then the whole outline just appeared. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
that's what we're doing. And as soon as I had the outline, it just it just flew from there. And so
Wow.
it was basically what the whole premise is understanding that you are brilliant. You have this light
Mm,
inside of you that's brilliance. And whenever you try
mm,
to be someone else, it dims. And when you feel
mm,
disconnected from yourself, it dims. And when you're not paying attention to the mind, the body, the soul, and the spirit, and then you get it dims. But when you
mhm,
start taking care of yourself and doing self-care and listening to intuition and understanding that that intuition gets deeper into inner knowing and wisdom and that connection to all and that you have it's all about that you have this amazing purpose, you are this
mm.
amazing being. And so becoming abundance because you're always becoming something, but
Yeah.
you aren't, because like for years I didn't know, I was always becoming less than who I'm supposed to be because I didn't realize that I could choose to be who I'm supposed to be, so I kept choosing less than what I
Yeah.
deserved. And so this book is all about embracing that no, we're not all equal in this world, but we all have a very specific place and skill set and gifts. And like I
Mm,
said, a brilliance all our own. And so
mhm,
if we really want to give to the world, we can't give what we don't have. So for
mhm.
me, all those years I wanted love, I couldn't give love because I didn't have it for myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we first must fill up in order to then give. And so
Yeah.
that book just flew out of me. It really
Wow.
did. And it's so crazy because I could say, yes, I wrote it and my name's on it, but intuition, I only
Mhm.
wrote when I was inspiredly led to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't, if
Yeah.
I was going to force myself, I'm like, nope, I don't want that kind of energy in the book. I wanted it to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
fully that high love energy. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. And if I'm going to tell you people, if you've been thinking about writing a book and be like, I know I can't, it's already in you. You came here with
Mm,
everything already. I didn't know that story was there. And it
mm.
just, just by following
Yeah.
through with myself and staying connected to all knowledge. Yeah. You have
Yeah.
that in you.
Yeah, because it's all there. It's all available to us. It's all available to us. And many of the great musicians and artists, they say that it's actually the universe, it's God, spirit, whatever language, that's what's coming through, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they're a vessel. So it's that connection, that intuition, that openness, that willingness to listen and develop that relationship.
And I love that you
Yeah.
say vessel too, because when we don't understand, and I think a lot of people think of, well, as a vessel, I'm being used. No, you're being used. Yes, but for amazing things, things that you don't even
Mhm.
realize are in you until you open up
Mhm.
and allow what you
Yeah.
are to come out. And
Yeah.
so that just like
Yeah.
hit a note with me. And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
that claiming that peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that we have the gift of free will, right? So you have a choice about if you want to tap into that universal life energy or not. It's your choice.
And that makes
Yeah.
me think of something else just this morning too, because I've been like, okay, God, what am I supposed to be doing? And sometimes he's like, you're not a robot. You're not my robot.
Mm.
I, you're
Figure it
acting
out.
like,
You're figure it out
yeah, he's
yourself.
like, go be you. Go live your life and be happy and love and
Yeah.
not worry so much
Yeah.
about, yeah, is this the right choice? There's no wrong
Mm.
choices.
Love that.
If you went left now and really right would have been better, trust me, you're going to come all the way back around to that same spot and go, oops, I already tried left. Now I'm going to go right. It doesn't disappear. That is what I've
Yeah.
learned. It'll come
Yeah.
right back around.
Yeah, because they're definitely, we can have a tendency to overthink and like kind of paralyze ourselves on the
Yep.
right decision. What's that quote unquote right decision to make and the right step. So where can people find your book?
It launches Monday, so July
Oh,
26th. Yeah.
okay.
On Amazon.
Okay.
So yep. Becoming
Awesome.
abundant. Yep.
And I will have the link in the show notes so people can absolutely check that out. I am gonna go. Can we pre-order?
You could, and then
Okay.
I noticed some mistakes, and so when I went to, it messed it up, and I was like, "Dang it!" It was one of those moments where I'm like, "Do I push it?" And then I'm like, "No, I don't want a bunch of typos in it," and so I
Okay.
unscheduled it so I could fix it.
Okay. So I will go out on Monday then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Laurie. I have immensely enjoyed our conversation. And for people who want to connect with Laurie, as always, all of her contact info, her socials, her website will be in the show notes, and you can find her. And if you feel called to connect, then you can absolutely do that way. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, the conversation, please like, subscribe, share all the podcasty things to help share the message. Thank you.